I wanted to talk today about the concept of spoiled children. Um, I was told over and over again by my abusive family that I was spoiled. And I was also told by somebody else who knew me before I was adopted that I was spoiled. Now, what I'd like to clarify there is before I was adopted, I was sexually abused, likely also physically abused, probably neglected. And from what I know to be true, it was not an environment in which you even can spoil a child. But like the point I'm trying to get at is that there isn't such a thing as a spoiled child, in my opinion. After I was adopted, I was painted as a villain, basically a toddler, a preschooler, painted as a villain, painted as dirty. I was the one who was sexually abused, and I was painted as dirty. My mother used to tell people, oh, she's playing with herself again. Yeah, I was 4 or 5 years old and I was sexually abused. What do you expect, right? But being told over and over and over while you're growing up in an abusive household with an abusive parent and a family that is completely full of enablers to this abusive parent. And I mean extended family as well. My aunts were abusive. They enabled my mother like to crazy heights. I tried to go no contact several times throughout my youth and my young adulthood. And whenever I would bump into an aunt or something, it was either I got glared at and ignored, or I got told, that's your mother, right? All of us with mother wounds, we've all heard the, that's your mother. Yeah, well, I was her daughter, right? We were her child. Why is that not important, right? But getting back to my point and what I wanted to speak about today is you can't spoil an abused child. Your abused child, whether this child comes from poverty, like I did before I was adopted, or whether that child has a very wealthy family, abuse is still possible and plausible. And if there is a child that's displaying behaviors that can be seen as bratty or spoiled, that is a cry for help, right? We know, those of us who have done a bit of healing, a little bit of counseling or therapy, we know that bad behavior is a cry for help and a symptom of trauma, whether that be emotional neglect, just not being listened to as a child, and not being seen, right? And it could be something as, crazy as when I was a kid and everybody seeing everything from the outside, everybody seeing only what the narcissist wanted them to see. And and believing that a child is manipulative enough to destroy their parents' lives by their behavior. Like there was no cause for it. They're just born bad, right? No. Abused children cannot be spoiled. They've simply been given things, material possessions, or, recognition outside of the home, outside of the abusive environment. They've been given what seems to be everything, and inside are given nothing. You don't know what wounds that bratty child is holding, concealed by their adult abuser. So I guess I just wanted to know maybe if anybody else heard that growing up who's been through a traumatic childhood or a traumatic life. Were you spoiled too while you were being berated and bullied by your parent in the home? Being ignored and neglected? Being sexually abused, physically abused, mentally abused, gaslit? Conditioned to believe that you did everything wrong and could do nothing right? So you acted out, right? Hoping, wishing for someone to hear and see you for the beautiful child that you were, being destroyed by a grown-up who is supposed to cherish you. And my anger comes from a place that some people don't understand who live with their natural parents, right? She chose me. I wasn't even born to her. She had a choice. And she painted me as her burden. Kids didn't ask to be born. Well, I didn't ask to be adopted. And I have no gratitude for the abuse that I suffered. I have gratitude for being taken out of a situation that was potentially worse than this one. But I didn't ask to be born, and I didn't ask to be anyone's burden. And neither did those spoiled children. Neither did any other spoiled child that might be watching this. There's no such thing as a spoiled child. You were in pain, and you deserved to have somebody to save you. And now that we're adults, now that we are able to access the tools that we need to, we can save ourselves. And I've done that. I don't think that my child self has ever been so happy and so free to love. I remember being told a lot, you love everything. Exactly in that tone, that face, everything, eye rolling, as a small child. Because I love that song, or I love that color, or I love that movie, or I love that person, or I love cats. I love. And thankfully now I can still be that person. That the hate that was forced upon me it didn't break me. And now that I feel the love that I felt when I was a child for myself, for my son, for life, for the world. And I mean, I hate a lot of stuff. You go back through my content, I hate a lot of stuff. But I love so much more than I hate. You deserved to have somebody to save you, just like I did. And now you can save yourself. Do it. If you haven't yet, do it. Check in with that little self, meditate. Do what you have to do. Write letters to your child self. Do what you need to do and heal that child, because that child isn't spoiled. That child still needs to be saved. Still needs to be saved. I love you.